Hey guys, it's Sunday night, and I just wanted to make a quick video about Ethereum. I want to touch on EOS too. Now I realize that, this is video 2, and most of the videos are going to be about the basics right now, about, how do you read volume, how do you read price charts so that you know where things are going to move, how to trade safely. And I've been getting some questions from, even just off the very first video, from some of my followers that are saying, I'm a new trader and I want to make safe trades, but I'm nervous and so forth. So I just want to make a quick video about Ethereum because Ethereum happens to be the absolute safest trading vehicle I can see out there in the crypto world. I can't say anything better. I've been trading off Ethereum for months, and you just cannot make a losing trade if you use my strategy with Ethereum. It's just one of those absolute safe plays. So I thought I'd go through the chart with you guys a little bit so that you could really see what I'm telling you. I understand that some of the new people watching this video probably don't know even just the basics of how I trade. But basically, how I trade, if we're going to just take a look at it quickly here, I'm looking for support and resistance, but I'm looking for, I call it a base. I'm looking for the support on the chart. I don't care what the price of the chart is. I don't care how high it's going. I don't try to predict what's going to happen. I'm a reactive trader, and I trade based off the chart. So, if you take a look at this chart right here, you've got support, you've got resistance up here, right? So around $400, the price was trying to get up there, and then it hit $400, and then that became resistance, and it just could not break that, and then eventually fell over, right? And if you were to look at regular technical analysis that people do, what they would do is they would draw a line from this point. Here, let me just figure out how to draw a line. Okay, so I just figured out how to draw a line. I don't even draw lines on charts. I do my charts naked, but okay, so for the purpose of this video, I'm going to draw a line. So in normal technical analysis, you would take the low here, and then you would draw a line, and you would hit, this low here, and this low here, and right there, where it finally cracks past these 3 points, that would be a drop-off. That would be where it looks like, the trend is not continuing, and the thing's going to fall apart, and it falls down. Which it did, right? And that's because lots of people follow this way of trading. And so if it manages to break this line, right here, they would consider shorting the stock, or at least exiting the position that they were in, and which would have been great. You're exiting around $300, and the thing fell all the way down to, in this chart, $185. So that would have been great to get out of it at that point. So if you were a lucky trader and you managed to somehow figure out a way to get into Ethereum down here, and you wrote it up and you wrote it up and you wrote it up, this would be a great place to exit. And if it happens to be your strategy that you're a shorter and you're looking for a good place to short, well then this would have been a great place to short. Right after it cracks this and it does a little bit of a turn up, that would be a great short, and you'd get to profit, like $100, like 100 points on this coin. But that's not how I trade. So let's see if we can get rid of this line. And I think we go like that. Yeah. Okay, so the line's gone. How do I trade? Well, like I said to you before in the previous video, I buy dips on stocks, or in this case a coin, that absolutely every time there's a surprise, it rebounds. Every single base that gets cracked, gives you a payoff. So, especially on Ethereum, I haven't found one crack that you wouldn't have made money on. Not one. And we'll go through the chart together really quickly and look to see if we can find a crack that you wouldn't have made money on. So what I do is I think in terms of support and resistance, but I'm looking for a good firm base. So let me pick a different color here. Right there. Okay, that's good. That'll draw a line. Yeah, okay. All right, so you take a look at this chart right here. And you see the price went up, went up, went up, went up, went up. And right around here, it's starting to form a little bit of a base. when it tried to pull back, it just can't get through that, and then it goes up, right? So let's say this is your base. So that's your base. When the thing finally decides to turn around, it has to, like if we blow this up, okay, just a second. Let me figure out how to use this. Because now I'm making a mess. Okay, so let's get rid of that. I think I go pointer. Yeah, okay. Alright, let's blow this up so that you can really see what I'm talking about. So you'll see that it ran up over here, it fell down and hit that base, and you got a beautiful pop off of that. That makes the base. That means that when you see a reaction, when you see that it came back and the reaction was big, that means that in this argument, where there's buyers and sellers and they're trying to discover the price of Ethereum, there's a lot of buyers. Even though over here you hit some sellers and they managed to knock the price down, everybody was waiting and sitting with their order right here. So you have a whole bunch of buyers that bounced and gave us a beautiful big reaction. So you wouldn't take this trade. This is not the trade you take. But this forms the base. This tells you that there's a base there. So the base is right here again. So as the price comes down, when it cracks this base, it surprises everybody. Everybody's like, they were all expecting a bounce right here. They're expecting it to continue and pass 400 and just keep going up. But surprise, it falls down, right? So that's a crack of the base, and that is a surprise. And because of that surprise, you'll have a bunch of people quickly panic and drop this price all the way down to $236. From $330 to $236. So, let me get this chart back to where it belongs here. So, this is your absolute safest place to buy. Now, these little bars are our bars. So when it cracked the base, right here, our little base, you got 1 hour, 2 hour, 3 hour, 4 hour, 5 hour, 6 hour, 7 hour, 8 hour, 9 hours before it got all the way down to 238. And then huge bounce, right? Over the next 9 to 10 hours, a huge bounce. So where's the right place to buy? Okay, you've read the chart the way I would read the chart. You know that this is the base. Where are you going to buy? Well, what about if you bought right here? Would that be okay? Sure, that's totally fine. You'd have made money. What about if you bought here? Is that okay? Sure. What if you bought it 7 hours in and you bought it 287? Also good. What if you bought way down here, you got lucky and you got the 250? Good again. It doesn't matter where you buy it. This is one of those questions that everybody always asks me. Well, how do I know where the right place to buy is? Well, you can read volume and you can try to find the bottom. You can do that. But honestly, I would buy here and here and here and here. I would layer in because it's all safe. This was a major surprise. It's coming off a very, very high top where everybody thinks it's going over 400. So there's tons of people to be shocked. So that makes this crazy drop and this big panic and a beautiful, beautiful trade. And look at the percentages. Huge percentages, right? And this happens over and over again. So now that this happened, where's your base? Well, I would consider your base somewhere between, where there's a good chunk of volume right here and right there. So somewhere in here is your base. So let's draw a line. Let me figure out how to do that again, right here. So we draw a line. So there's your base. Pretty clear. Actually, you can see that right here touched and right here touched. So really accurately, your base would probably be this. This is more likely your base, but you can even make that your base. Anywhere in this area is your base. So let's zoom out a little bit and let me allow to move over the chart. All right, so what happens when you surprise and you crack that base again? Well, right here, where's the safe place to buy? I mean, this is Ethereum. You can't find a spot on this chart where you crack a base and it doesn't pay. Every crack gets a bounce. Every crack gets a bounce. So this crack right here of this major base, where it held up last time and it caused a huge jump. So that tells you that this is the correct location. This crack, whoop, you get all the way down to I actually bought at 185. That was insane. But anyway, You get all the way down to 185 and this monster jump, almost double your money, 320, so like 40% jump. Is that insane? So, I mean, these trades are right there and they're completely safe. And even though it's scary, you'd be thinking, oh my goodness, this thing could fall all the way to $100. But it doesn't matter. If it fell all the way to $100, if it did, it would bounce all the way back up to 280. Because that's Ethereum. There's enough thickness of an argument. There's enough people who believe in, you know, this platform and all these dApps and everything that's all the ICOs that are coming out. There's enough people that believe in Ethereum to counter the people who don't. And so you get a chart that always works out. Every surprise gets bought. And those guys buy it all the way back up, at least to where the crack was, if not further. So anyway, let's go back in time. Let's just go back in time. I bought this beautiful crack. Oh man, did I ever buy that crack? This was such a good one. You know, here's like, can I get a pen again? Like obvious. Look at that base. How more obvious could you be? So this whole section was just beautiful to buy, right? What a gorgeous buy, all in the 140, 120, 100s, and then huge, massive bounce up to 236. Now let's keep going back into history. Actually, I don't think I can go back into history off this one, because this is with Bittrex. They won't go very much further before we run out of history. But we can go to Kraken, Ethereum, right here. Yeah, so Kraken, same chart, right? Exact same situation, our little base that was over here. Let me draw in those things, just so we're, you know, our nice little base that was right there. And then we had that one that we spotted up here. And then as you go back in time now, you know, you have an obvious one right there. Obvious. Look at that nice bounce off of there. You even had an obvious one right here. You know, if you were to draw that over, boy, would you ever have got a nice trade off of that. Okay, and then how do I make it so I can move again? You go back in time. I mean, you're just never going to find a spot where the base doesn't work, you know, where you're like, there you go, where you're like, there's an obvious base. You know, here's an obvious base, but you never ever get to, I guess you could have maybe caught that. Let me blow that up if I can. Yeah, I guess you could have caught that. You could have drew that line right across. Right across to there. That thing dropped all the way to $28. I don't even understand that, but I think I really, you know, the Kraken, I don't know if they just had a thin book that day or whatever, but what a drop, eh? And then huge, massive bounce. And then, okay, so if we go back to here, we can keep on scrolling back. I mean, you'll just never find it. So what about way back in the past when the thing was going down? Oh, here's a few down days, right? Look, the thing's going down. So let's do our thing. Let's make our, so base. There's a clear one, right? Base. You get a drop all the way down to here and bounce right back up. So all the way down to $48 and all the way back up to $51. And then that would be your new base, but I would even call this your base, you know, because that's where the chunk of the volume was. The chunk of the playing and of the people. And you get a good crack and bounce right back up. So you're safe again. Now this is clearly your base, right? That's your clear next base. So if you take any trade under there in this whole section, what are you going to get? You're going to get a bounce right back up. Now this is your clear base. Again, your clear base. You can buy this whole section and you get a bounce back up. And it just never ends. I mean, we can do this all night. We can go back. Let's try to go back far enough that we're not going up anymore. Way, way back in time to where we're going down. I got to try to find it. Oh, look at this. Look at that. There's so many down opportunities, right? It's terrible. So this is where it's just heading down. So let's draw our bases. I mean, there's got to be somewhere on this chart where it doesn't work. So you got base. Oh, wait a second, Luke. Right? What about here? This didn't go right up. Look, there's a little section right here. where you could have lost money if you had bought right there. Perhaps if you bought this one little spot right there, maybe you could have lost money. It's possible, right? You could be the guy who buys. No, because why would you? That's not the crack. This is the crack. And it bounced all the way to there. This was, obviously, this is your base, right? It's your base. And it bounced all the way, it got all the way down to 776 and bounced back up. And it started to form a clear base. Again, another crack. And then guess what? It bounced back. If you screwed this trade up because you thought to wait a little bit and, no. Well, it doesn't matter. It came back and paid you anyway. And then here's your clear base again. Base. Uh-oh, what's going to happen? All the way down to 710 and all the way back up to 750. And of course, that's not going to last long before it starts going up again because it is Ethereum. I really wish we could find. I mean, I don't want to waste the whole thing going through this trying to prove my point, but you can just keep on finding these bases, drawing them out. Where was the low? Right there. Obvious clear base, bounce, and back up. And where was the low? Obvious clear base. You don't get much profit off this, but bounce back up. Where was the low? Obvious clear base. And you can buy anywhere in here. Doesn't really matter. You can buy here, here. Doesn't matter. And you get paid. Same thing over here. As soon as it cracks, you probably get in probably right there, because I doubt you'd go right after the crack, and you get your bounce. And same thing in here. It doesn't matter where you buy. You can buy right there. You can buy right there. You can buy right here. It doesn't matter. You get your bounce. So there is nothing safer to trade. That's my point. There's nothing safer to Ethereum. So why try? Let me try to get back. Wonder if we can just maybe if I just pick something else and come back to it, it'll set me back up. Probably not. No, I gotta actually scroll all the way back. Okay. Here's modern time. Here's our time. So anyway, again, so if you've drawn all your bases and you've gone back through the very start of Ethereum when it first came out, you drew all your bases and you realized that every single trade you would have ever taken on Ethereum would have always worked using Luke's method. Every single one, every surprise, end up getting back. Every crack of a base gets a bounce. Every single one. Then your very next crack, like look right now, we're developing. We got a nice little base right there, and we got a nice little base right there. Two bases right there. I would take this one for absolute security, but it doesn't matter. So we got two bases right now that are formed. What are the chances if it cracks this base? What are the chances you don't get a bounce? What are the chances if it cracks that base, you don't get a bounce? I would say no chance. Like, I'd say your odds are 99%. After trading Ethereum for as long as I haven't had a losing trade ever. So that tells you that that's really the best way to trade, I think. That's the safest way to trade. What about if you traded the other way, where you were trading, where you were buying cracks of resistance? Where you were a breakout trader. What would happen in that case? Well, if you're a breakout trader, where's the breakout up here? What if you called this your top? I got to go back to lines. Let's change the color too. So let's call this a breakout trader. What if this was your top? Well, is this a breakout right here? I don't know. Is it? Would you buy there and then all of a sudden you have to realize this crash? And then, okay, is this your top? Is that now your top over here? Obviously came up to here, it stopped. So is this your breakout? Did you buy that? Eesh. Where is your breakout? I mean, this one would have worked. Hey, you bought right here, that would have worked. But what are your odds? This one right here might have worked. That would have worked right there. Right? It might have faked you out a little bit because it starts to come down, but I mean, where are your odds? Are your odds 60%? 50%? What are your chances of this being successful? Whereas the way I trade, it's 99, 100% chance of success on every trade. And then to take it just one step further, I don't want to make this video too long, but to take it one step further, with all the free, like you're making 10%, 20%, 30% on these trades. with all that, and you can go any size you want, because these are very big. This is a very big deal. So people are you know, putting in 100 coins at a time. So you can go like $20,000 on a trade. So $20,000 on a trade, if you make 20%, you've made $2,000, and that buys you six coins. 6 coins now that you can take that were free, because you know there wasn't a gamble. Your trade is going to work. So 6 coins that you can take, and you can store them away. You can throw them to a wallet, and you can keep them. And then you're into Ethereum for when it gets to 500 or when it gets to 1,000 without any risk. No risk, because all of your money is still safe. Anyway, that's the way I trade. I don't want to continue too long. I also want to talk just really quickly about EOS, because EOS is going absolutely nuts, right? So here's EOS right now. This is EOS to Ethereum, and you can see that all of a sudden, you're not going to believe the trade I just got though on EOS. It's just beautiful. I bought 21 right here, and you know, that is complete luck of the draw. I don't even like this color here. Let's make it yellow. I bought right here 21, and I sold right here at 55. I sold right there. I made such a beautiful trade. 21 to 55, you know, is like 2.5 times my money. It was just such a gorgeous trade. And then you're thinking, well, but wait, Luke, it's gone all the way up to 90. You know, aren't you upset that you could have made like 4 or 5 times your money, but instead you only took 2.5 times your money? I'm happy with 2.5 times my money. You know, how far is this going to go? Well, let's take a look at over here on market capitalizations. Look at this. Today, $330 million has gotten traded on EOS. That is a big deal, right? But they're doing a ICO right now that's going to go on for a year. So what are the chances that this is not just going to pop and come right back down? I think it's coming back down. I think in the future, I mean, I really believe in EOS. I think in the future it's going to be a big deal. But right now, when it just came out, and a bunch of exchanges just got it, and we can take a look at the exchanges right here. You know, so you can see that all the volume was in this Chinese, this Beijing exchange. So, you know, all the volume is in that exchange, and then Kraken just today, you know, picked up EOS. So obviously you got a bunch of volume there, but that's 11 million, which is still high. But all the volume is in China, and I mean, that is quite the jump, I'll tell you. It's 178% up. So that just tells you that there's going to be a lot of buyers. There's a lot of buyers in that market. And it's probably going to end up being just like Ethereum and just as safe. Every dip is going to get bought. So that's all I have for you tonight. I just wanted to go over that with you because I wanted to give new traders a little bit of confidence. You know, if you had to pick through all these coins, and believe me, there's so many safe ones, it's unbelievable. I just took Ethereum because I was thinking to myself, there's going to be some new traders that want a very safe play. They want to know, especially for their very first few trades, they want to know that if they read this chart correctly, they can have complete confidence that all of their trades are going to work out. And every single trade that I can find on the Ethereum chart would have worked for me. Every single one. And every single one that I've ever made on Ethereum has worked for me. So you could feel free, you can feel confident to trade Ethereum without any issue and get your feet wet and get used to trading. Then once you start to go through all the other charts, you're going to start to see it clear as day. If you're watching my videos from week to week as I put out this video series, it's always going to be the same thing. I'm going to be going over different coins and explaining, you know, where I took my trades or where would be the appropriate place to take trades. And it's going to be the same thing over and over and over again. And just following me through my videos, you'll probably get a lot of confidence. But I'd feel a lot safer if newbies, people who are just fresh starting out, would take trades on something like this. And you'll notice that you'll notice that my charts are at 1 hour intervals, like these are 1 hour bar charts. So every bar here is an hour. That means that it's a very slow trade. You know, when it cracks, you've got like 4, 5, 6, 7, 10 hours sometimes to get into a trade. So if you're off at work and you know you're actually, what you can do is, what I do is I'll draw my base and I'll be like, okay, here's the base. I'd love it if I could buy in here or here or here. So before any of this happens, when we're all the way over here, and before anything of this happens, I've already know where my base is. So I'm already putting an order right here at 280 and an order at 260 and an order at 220. Just in anticipation of that crack if it happens. And then when it does happen, bling, 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 you can be at work, you can be doing whatever, and you've managed to buy in. And, you know, I have alerts set up on my phone, so when I see that I bought a bunch of stuff, then I can go right ahead and stick a sell order right over here. Oh, sorry. I can stick a sell order right over there, anywhere in this area, and not even worry about it. I just know what's going to happen, I know it's safe, and I can just make my money that way. Okay, so we're going to call it the end of the video here, and I hope that this has given some of you some confidence, and I hope you can see basically what I'm doing. I'm going to go into much more depth in the future videos about volume and about how to really tell that it's a base, so that you know 100% you're looking at the chart right. You can always send me a question and say, Luke, is there a base formed on a 1 hour bar chart on this coin at this level? And I'll tell you yes or no. I'll just take a look at your chart and let you know what I think. So with that, I'll see you in the next video, and thanks for watching.